And we're live from sunny South Central Los Angeles, California. I'm Mark, and I am a codependent narcissist. Met a friend out last night in Hollywood. He's asking me, he does a magazine, and he was asking me what I've been up to. And I told him about this live stream and how I was getting into feeling my feelings and kind of this, what this live stream was about. And he mentioned that, he's a guy, that he couldn't even feel his feelings because he knew there was so much pain, basically. And that would be very difficult for him to do. And I understand this, like, more than anyone, homie, like, for sure. Because I wasn't really too aware, had any awareness around this. I'd really intellectualized my feelings. I thought I knew I was thinking something, but I wasn't really thinking it. That's the difference. So I was very intrigued about what I've been up to. And then he asked me, he's like, well, how do you do it? How do you feel your feelings? And I told him you had to feel your pain. Like, for real. For real, for real. Feel your pain. Somehow it doesn't work with joy. When you shut down all of your emotions, you shut down joy as well. Maybe that's why we like drink and, as a society, have all these addictions because joy is kind of like shut down. Just a thought. So you have to feel your pain, and you got to feel it all the way through. And I got this because I didn't realize I had feelings in the first place. And then I pulled a tarot card and talked about ending interdependence, ending codependence, moving towards interdependence. And I was like, what the fuck is this codependence shit that I keep hearing about, that I think that I am, but I don't really know too much about, or why I have it, or what you can do about it. So I went on YouTube as soon as I got home, looked up some shit, found this lady, Lisa Romano. She's amazing. She was like, I listened to this video. She said you to feel your pain all the way through. And then you had to grieve for yourself, for your inner child, for like never being seen as a kid, never having your emotions validated by your parents. So I was like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, first of all, your brain is like, our brains are wired to avoid pain at all costs. It's an evolutionary thing. So when somebody says to do that, your brain freaks the motherfucking out. It's like, dude, bro, homie, what are you thinking? This is the worst idea you've ever had. Worst idea. But you kind of have to have some sort of awareness around knowing what that voice is and knowing that's not the truth. If you're not meditating, homie, like, you can't get past this point, because that thought will come up and you'll immediately react. You'll react so quick you won't even have time to process it, because it's really operating at the subconscious level. So without a lot of meditating, I couldn't have even gotten to this point where I was like, feel your pain. And really, I probably was, well, who knows? So she said, feel your pain, feel your pain. I did not know what this meant. The next day, I took some LSD on the beach, because it was like fucking like one of the best beach days. And I was like, homie, I'm not the dude who like talks about doing LSD on the beach by himself and having a good fucking time. I'm the homie that motherfucking does that shit. So I did it, and Most of the trip was fucking awesome, man. Being at the beach was really great. It was very freeing. I really had entered a dangerous level of freedom at that point, really helping me on my roadmap. But then the trip kind of turned south. I kind of remembered what the lady had said about feeling your pain. And I was like, sure, I'll just feel like a little bit or something, not like too crazy amount. And then, this is the problem with drugs because like you could get here in meditation if you worked on it, but with drugs it like kind of forces you into some learning that could be with the carrot, could be with a stick, usually with a stick, sometimes with a stick. So I had this wave of like, it wasn't just pain wash over me, it was like toxic shame. It was like all of my pain combined. And then it speaks to you in metaphors that like you can understand. So my metaphor was like, what is the most, because toxic shame, that's just an idea, right? But then it becomes a metaphor, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I created like what I think having the most toxic shame would be ever, and that would be to be like a child molester. Like I felt what it felt like to be a child molester and have that amount of toxic shame in their body, kind of knowing what they're doing is wrong, but not having any boundaries and justifying it because their childhoods were stolen, so it's okay. And like all this shit, man. And I was just like, oh, it's brutal. Like the rest of the night, the rest of the trip was just like, I felt it. And it was so gross. And like, it was like the definition of toxic shame, man. That was a real metaphor that I felt. And it sucked so bad. Really, really sucked. And the next day when I woke up, I had a remembrance of it, but I was like, oof, got through that. That sucked. But I need to figure what's up. So I went downstairs, I smoked some weed, and poof, dude, the whole wave of toxic shame like re-happened. And again, I felt like I was a child molester, man, and like felt what it felt to be a child molester, being molested probably by his parents or somebody, feeling that toxic shame and just having to feel that thing all the way through. It took me like 2 days. And then maybe another day to like grieve for myself for like having that amount of toxic shame like stuck in my body. And when I was done, I really had to ask myself, like, was I molested as a kid? And I don't think I was, but a lot of this stuff is like generational. Also, as consciousness, as immortal consciousness, I've been a child molester and been molested as a child, man. Like, I've played all parts in this virtual reality as consciousness. So maybe I was just had to understand, maybe that was just a metaphor, and it was sucked, man. It really sucked. I told this I told this old friend of mine, I guess this friend of mine, I didn't tell her the story about like what my metaphor for toxic shame was. I just told her to feel her pain. And we went to Korean spa here in Los Angeles, and she felt it too. We were at the Korean spa for 24 hours. We had to buy like 2 entrance passes because she couldn't move. She was such in that feeling, the toxic pain. So it's a real thing. But without feeling that shame, that toxic pain that's stored in your body, you really can't feel joy either. Just like me being able to share this is like pretty freeing. You have no fucking clue. That's kind of like the genius of like 12 step programs or ayahuasca sharing circles or any sort of sharing circle, is that like the chance to be 100% authentic and not being judged is pretty rare in this world. So, sharing is really where a lot of the healing comes from. And with healing, you start feeling joy now. Pretty fucking great. I hope this message encourages everyone to, you know, share their message of their journey and their truth, and hopefully that can give other people courage to speak their truth. And in doing so, kind of everyone is releasing this shame, this toxic shame that we have inside of us that we don't even really know we have it. Get stuck in us as kids. And then our brains don't want to feel that pain anymore. So I hope this encourages somebody or nobody. And I hope this message finds everyone doing really well. I understand what you guys are going through because, you know, like I was there not so long ago. Anyway, love to all. Thanks.